In today's show, I'll be breaking down the latest Bitcoin technical analysis, as well as the fact that the Bitcoin hash rate hit yet another all-time high. I'll also be sharing the latest updates from Plan B, creator of the Bitcoin stock-to-flow model. Also, Bitfinex Securities launches in El Salvador. Let's go. Also, the U.S. national debt surpasses $100,000 per American as ex-Treasury Secretary calls for tax hikes amid enormous risks. We'll also be discussing BlackRock and ProShares Bitcoin ETFs overtake GBTC's daily trading volume, as well as what's the likelihood of Bitcoin reaching $1 million per coin by 2028. And speaking of $1 million predictions, Cathie Wood just upped her prediction with her latest ARK Invest report, which I'll be breaking down for you, which suggests Bitcoin can hit $2.3 million per coin. I'll be sharing the timeline. We'll also be taking a look at the overall crypto market. All this, plus so much more in today's show. If you're new to the channel, be sure to smash that subscribe button to receive daily premium crypto news alerts every single day, just like this. Also important to smash the like if you're gaining value, as it helps out tremendously with the YouTube algorithm. Even if you're not gaining value and I'm just entertaining you, pump the like to help pump the stream. I appreciate it. And yeah, let's kick this mofo off. Today is February 3rd, 2024. I'm your host, JV, and today is pod episode number 1540. Let's kick it off with our market watch, as we do each and every day. You can see Bitcoin in the green on the day, up about 0.5%, maintaining at 43,200. 43,000 support has been holding. Let's see if we continue pumping over the weekend. We have Ether up 0.5%, maintaining above $2,300. And we also have BNB, XRP, Cardano, and AVAX pumping in the green, while Solana pulled back. It did tap $100 yesterday, but now down 1%, trading just above $98. And zooming out on the monthly, it shows the same numbers, and I'm starting to get skeptical that the monthly isn't working because it never changes the numbers, so that's a little sus. But nonetheless, we also have CoinMarketCap.com sitting at 1.65 trillion with about 38 billion in volume for the past 24 hours. Bitcoin dominance has been maintaining above 51%, currently 51.1%, with the Ether dominance at 16.8%. Now, which altcoins are you most bullish on this bull run? Here's the top gainers for the past 24 hours. We got Ronin up 7%, Algorand up 3.5%, and Flare up 3.5%. Below that, XRP, ICP, Celestia, Render, Chiliz, and Satoshi Vision. And checking out the crypto bubbles to get a visual perspective, I could see roughly, I'd say 85% of the alts are in the green for the day, so definitely good for the altcoin market. And zooming out on the monthly, I would guess maybe 60% in the red, 40% in the green, in that ballpark, with some big gainers, including Pendle up 112%, PLS 111%, Pith 72%, EHEX and HEX up roughly 80%, and SUI up 77%. And checking out the Bitcoin halving countdown, there's only 74 days, which ultimately means 2.5 months until the biggest event in crypto for the past 4 years, and potentially of all time, with it scheduled to take place on April 18th of this year. Again, only 2.5 months out. If you're pretty ecstatic for the Bitcoin halving, make some noise and let me know. And I'm also curious, how many halvings have you experienced thus far? If this will be your first, put a 1 in the live chat. If this will be your second, put a 2. If it's your third, put a 3. And ultimately, this is going to be the 4th of all time, which the first one occurred in 2012. So if you're a true OG, like I know some of you are, put a 4 in that live chat. But anyways, fam, let's now dive into today's Bitcoin technical analysis. Check out the charts where the Bitcoin price action is likely to go next. So here we go. Downward pressure on Bitcoin subsides. Macro factors come into play. That's right. In the Coinbase weekly report on Friday, the American Exchanges analyst noted that the market factors that induced downward pressure on Bitcoin were being phased out. This claim is backed by the completion of the GBTC liquidations by defunct crypto exchange FTX, as well as the recovery of certain crypto entities from bankruptcy, indicating a change in the dynamics of the Bitcoin market. Furthermore, the analyst highlighted the stable performance of the Bitcoin spot ETF market in the past week, marked by average daily net inflows of 200 million and a daily trading volume of 1.35 billion in the last week. However, in the coming weeks, Coinbase market experts have predicted the macroeconomic factors to gain more influence in the crypto market. The analyst made references to the U.S. Federal Reserve's decision to postpone the deliberation on scaling back its QT, which is quantitative tightening, to the Federal Open Market Committee meeting, which occurs in March. And based on this development, they predict the easing cycle will begin May 1st, which typically involves measures such as lowering the interest rates to make loans cheaper and stimulate economic activity. And in addition, they anticipate the Fed to start halting its balance sheet reductions by June to further support the U.S. economy. Now, interestingly, they believe the Fed could consider implementing the end of the balance sheet reduction at the same time with the rate cuts. And based on these policy makers implementing in an election year, Coinbase analysts predict the U.S. Apex Bank will cut interest rates by 100 basis points, which is 25 BPS more than the Fed's expectations for future rates, which is equivalent to lowering rates by roughly 1%. But let's dive into the Bitcoin overview. At this time, Bitcoin is trading at roughly 43,000 with a modest gain for the past day. The asset's daily trading volume is down by 15% and is currently valued at just shy of 17 billion. With a market cap of roughly 845 billion, Bitcoin continues to rank as the largest crypto in the world. And also want to share some insights here with Bitcoin price standing still, but these Bitcoin wallets making big moves. They say, watch the whales, hence the smart money. So according to Santiment, here's what they have to share. Bitcoin is ranging between 41 and 44,000, but whale wallets are moving big this week. The number of 1,000 to 10,000 Bitcoin wallets, meaning wallets which have between 1 to 10,000 BTC, is 1,958 as of February 1st, the most since November of 2022. And wallets that contain between 100 and 1,000 Bitcoin is 13,755 as of February 1st, the least since November of 2022. And this chart shares it all. Shout out to Santiment for the data. The analytics company highlighted the decline of certain wallets holding between 100 and 1,000 BTC. Such investors dropped by 1.1% in less than a week. But moreover, their number is down 13,735, the lowest since November 2022, when Bitcoin's price slumped amid the FTX bankruptcy and the shockwaves it sent throughout the entire industry. It's not all negative though. While these more retail-oriented investors have been disposing of their assets after the ETF approvals in the States, whale behavior has been exactly the opposite. Within the same 6-day time frame, the Bitcoin whales holding between 1,000 and 10,000 Bitcoin have grown their stashes by 2.5%. In other words, there are 47 new such wallets created in the last week. So congratulations to all the new whales. And in the same time period, the Bitcoin price has been quite sluggish, aside from brief and unsuccessful attempts to overcome 44, though we've been getting close, family. So as I mentioned earlier, expect more extreme volatility. Other breaking news, the Bitcoin hash rate surpassed, if I'm pronouncing this number correct, I'm going to say 440 quintillion exahashes per second. Look at that parabolic ascent. And as they say, the price follows the hash rate. So as long as Bitcoin continues breaking out the hash rate, it's a good sign. Now, I'm curious if this is a typo because it looks like on the chart we're at roughly 540. So I think he may have meant 540 quintillion exahashes per second. Just FYI. Correct me if I'm wrong there, family. And checking out the latest from Plan B, creator of the Bitcoin stock to flow model. After the April halving, Bitcoin will be scarcer than gold and real estate. It would surprise me if Bitcoin market cap of $1 trillion will stay below gold's market cap of 10 trillion. This implies the Bitcoin price between 500,000 with a market cap between 10 trillion, I guess, to 20 million. Does that indicate? Interesting. So he also says the gold stock to flow ratio is 60. The real estate stock to flow ratio is 100. And the Bitcoin stock to flow ratio is 110. Now, other breaking news, exactly 380 years ago, family, the Dutch tulip mania hits an all-time high before slowly crashing to zero. Yes, 380 years ago. And how many times has the mainstream referred to Bitcoin as tulip mania? Clown world, family. But anyways, Bitcoin is now up 400 million% and has millions of global users and has endured for 15 years. That's right. If you zoom out on the lifetime chart, you can see Bitcoin's been in a 15-year bull run and we're just getting started. Now, I mean, run the math on that. 400 million% gains in the past 15 years, that's the most appreciative asset in human history. There is no second best. So 2 markets, no comparison. Very well said. Shout out to Rizzo. And that's Frank Rizzo, R-I-Z-Z-O. You already know for my jerky boys out there. Bada boom, bada bing. 5 members have just been gifted with the MicroStrategy membership of the channel. Congratulations, Sir Captain. Joe Buddy, Kev A, Code, Mr. Taxi Cab. You have all been blessed with the MicroStrategy membership of the channel. Yesterday, you guys were amazing. I think we gifted collectively like 15 or 20 memberships. So many blessings. We appreciate all the support, family. But anyways, fam, let's dive into our next story of the day and discuss the latest with Bitfinex. Doing some big things in El Salvador. The headline reads, Bitfinex Securities launches in El Salvador. And don't forget, tomorrow is a big day as Bukele should be becoming re-elected another 5-year term as president. But anyways, Bitfinex, the crypto exchange, has started a securities issuance platform in El Salvador under the name of Bitfinex Securities El Salvador. The platform officially launched operations in El Salvador, taking advantage of its enabling crypto regulatory framework, and a move that the company qualified as a substantial leap for financial innovation in Latin America as well as globally. The company, which is the first regulated digital asset service provider for the country, is already open to service private customers and expects to have strong demand for the crypto products this year, fueled by the recent approval of the Bitcoin ETF products in the US. Now, Paulo, the CTO of Bitfinex Securities, remarked on the relevance of the company's launch for the future of El Salvador's digital economy, stating this would allow it to attract global investment flows directed to digital assets investments. Quoting him here, we're proud to be at the forefront of this financial revolution, providing a platform for companies and investors worldwide to explore the limitless possibilities of digital assets. The possibilities for Bitfinex and other digital asset companies in the country were open last year when the Digital Assets Securities Law was passed, regulating everything related to crypto securities and creating the National Commission of Digital Assets, an institution focusing on the oversight of these activities. In a press release, Bitfinex reported that it had been working with global issuers to build a robust pipeline of digital products to be unveiled in the coming months. More specifically, Bitfinex predicts a surge of these tokenized products during the first half of 2024. So there you have it. And when Volcano Bonds send in. Now, how many of you guys have been to El Salvador or are currently residing out there? Please do let me know. And is anyone planning to get their residency? I'm curious to note. But anyways, family, let's continue as I still got a lot to share. Let's discuss this national debt, which is absolutely insane. I think it's north of the tune of 34 trillion, which ends up being like $100,000 per American. That's right. The U.S. government's rapidly climbing national debt has grown to more than $100,000 per citizen, which is outrageous. According to data from Peter Peterson Foundation, America's national debt has reached over $34 trillion, equal to roughly $101,000 per capita. Rising revenues are not canceling out the soaring debt, leading to a growing deficit, which is currently at $509 billion. Wow. So ultimately, is that $500 billion for this year so far, and a debt to GDP ratio of 122.8%. In a new interview with Bloomberg, the former Treasury Secretary, Robert Rubin, says the U.S. is in a terrible place financially and suggests the country has virtually no other choice but to increase taxes to deal with its deteriorating monetary situation. Very sus. Just raise the taxes. That's going to fix everything. Yeah, sure. Anyways, quoting him here, the risks are enormous and some of them are materializing already, like higher interest rates. Looking forward, we're having to deal with both spending and taxes. When you get realistic about it, I think you're going to have to largely rely on raising taxes. Rubin estimates that about 60% of the entire deficit that fomented between the year 2000 and 2022 was a result of tax cuts. However, the former official says that solving the debt crisis is in limbo due to the political gridlock, with Republicans opposing tax hikes and the Democrats opposing cuts to entitlements. Quoting him again, there is a lot of talk, but the talk is always divided politically. What else is new? Between the Republicans who refuse to raise taxes and the Democrats who won't do entitlements. Rubin says he hopes Washington will address the deficit after the election in November, but adds that he wouldn't bet on it. So there you have it. I mean, I've heard talk that this deficit, the national debt, can go to $100 trillion over the course of the next year. What are your thoughts on that? That would ultimately mean 3x the current debt sitting just north of $34 trillion. But now let's discuss the latest between BlackRock and ProShares Bitcoin ETFs overtaking GBTC's daily trading volume. That's right. Bitcoin traded between 42.5 and 43.4 February 2nd as the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust grapple hold over the ETF selling took a pause. That's right. Grayscale converted GBTC ETF has dominated the spot Bitcoin ETF market in terms of daily volume since the products began trading January 11th. This dominance came to an end on February 1st when BlackRock's iShares and ProShares Bitcoin Strategy ETF became the first of the 9 ETFs to surpass GBTC's trading volume. Data shared by Bloomberg intelligence analyst James Seyffart on February 1st showed IBIT leading with 301 million in volume, while additional data showed that BITO had ended the day with 298 million trades placed. GBTC came in third with 292 million in trades. Quoting Seyffart here, BlackRock's IBIT is the first ETF to trade more than Grayscale's GBTC in a single day. He also says still some after hours trading left, but looks like BlackRock's IBIT is the first ETF to trade more than Grayscale in a single day. Total trading today was kind of a dud, though, at 924 million, the first day below 1 billion in dollar volume for the group since the launch. So there you have it. Now, this was the first time the total daily ETF trades were below 1 billion, with the cumulative trading volume now at 28.3 billion. And at this time, on February 2nd, when it was published, the article, GBTC was back up on top of the table with 240 million in trading volume. Now, GBTC's dominance of spot Bitcoin ETFs was due to heavy outflows from the trust since the first day of trading. This has been largely attributed to the ability of investors to redeem their investment once the product was converted to a spot ETF, something they were unable to do before. In addition, Grayscale's high fees have seen it shed well over 5.8 billion worth of assets since January 11th, according to Bitfinex research. The higher fee GBTC product has now shed over $5.8 billion worth of assets in this period, compared to the combined inflows of $7 billion for the 9 newborn ETFs, according to Bitfinex research, as outlined right here. The dominance has, however, begun to decline over the last few days. Earlier, GBTC was sending an average of 700 million in Bitcoin to the Coinbase crypto exchange, and Bitfinex research data above showed that this had totaled less than 300 million since January 26th. So in terms of Bitcoin, 24,000 BTC outflowed from GBTC, reducing the 4,461 Bitcoin January 30th and 4,400 on February 2nd. So according to JP Morgan analysts, who cares about JP Morgan, right? GBTC outflows were largely due to profit taking and are behind us, which could take the pressure off the Bitcoin price. It's also important to note that GBTC's selling peak, the FTX crypto exchange, sold its entire GBTC shareholding. So I'm glad that it was the entire stash. So the FTX estate, which massively dumped their entire GBTC shares, which was ultimately what tanked Bitcoin to $38,000, is officially over. That was valued at roughly $1 billion. So there you have it, my crypto fam. But anyways, family, we got 2 more stories. The next story, we're going to be discussing $1 million prediction by 2028. And then Cathie Wood's latest 2.3 Bitcoin price prediction, and that's 2.3 million per coin, just FYI, and then we'll dive into our live Q&A. So this headline, will Bitcoin hit $1 million by 2028? And it's ironic I found this headline because yesterday I shared with you that I firmly believe Bitcoin hits that $1 million milestone by 2029. But keep in mind, 2028 is the halving. And so I'm saying if the 4-year cycle repeats and we continue peaking for the cycle the year after the halving, hence why I suggested by the year 2029. So anyways, Tor Demeester, Bitcoin evangelist, recently shared his, hey, can I be a Bitcoin evangelist as well? That's a pretty good title, just FYI. He says Bitcoin's potential to reach $1 million mark by 2028. His view on the topic presents a cautious contrast to some of the more bullish predictions of the community. This tempered perspective comes with others, such as Samson Mao of Jan 3, expressing strong confidence in Bitcoin's ability to hit this milestone following the next halving. So Tor Demeester's skepticism was articulated in a response to a post sharing a graph by investor Freddy Krueger. Interesting username. Which suggests that Bitcoin might reach the 1 million level by 2028, as this graph suggests. While appreciating the graph's model, Demeester expressed uncertainty, acknowledging the unpredictable nature of the market and its capacity to defy all the most well-constructed models. Quoting him here, will it take Bitcoin until after summer 2028 to reach 1 million? I don't know, but I do know that every beautiful model, as is this one, is destined to be broken. Send it. The anticipation surrounding the Bitcoin price of 1 million is closely tied to the halving events, which occur approximately every 4 years, with the next one happening in 74 days. After this year's halving, the next Bitcoin halving is set to occur 2028. These events reduce the number of new Bitcoin mined per block by half, limiting the supply and potentially impacting the Bitcoin price. The upcoming halving, set for April, scheduled to take place April 18th at this time, will see the daily minting of Bitcoin slash from 900 to 450 coins. Such supply changes have historically led to significant price movements, lending credibility to the various models predicting substantial future price increases. And amid these predictions, another user claiming ownership of the growth plot referenced by Demeester chimed in with some insights. They argued that some market laws, like the time value of money in the stock market, are less likely to be broken, quoting him here. Similarly, the natural adoption rate of Bitcoin might constrain its explosive growth, providing room for market movements without breaking the underlying model. And that was in response to a tweet here by HC Berger. Hi, Tor, the plot is mine. Some laws are not broken by Mr. Market. Yada, yada, yada. And now for some diverse views on Bitcoin's future, we have Samson Mao, CEO of Jan3, who is more optimistic. Mao envisions Bitcoin reaching 1 million. In fact, I shared his $1 million game plan. I think it was 2 podcasts or 3 podcast episodes ago. If you missed it, be sure to go back and check it out. And potentially in a sudden surge, causing max pain for several market players. This dramatic increase, he suggests, could happen swiftly within days or weeks. Through the precise starting point, though at this time, remains uncertain. So what are your thoughts? Do you think it can happen that fast? Hypothetically speaking, going from 50,000 and 20xing all the way to $1 million per coin in a matter of days or weeks? Let me know. And in analyzing potential triggers for a Bitcoin rally, Mao considers various factors, including Bitcoin-specific metrics like exchange-traded inflows. In fact, he actually made a tweet here. These are the Bitcoin macro indicators I'm looking at. ETF inflows, hash rate, Finex whale, accumulation, I guess he means Bitfinex, 200 WMA trend, Tether, USDT, assets under management, government interest payments on debt GDP ratios, nation state Bitcoin adoption, which he is working on. First and foremost, behind the scenes. Very active, by the way, so much respect to Samson. Real inflation as well as the M3 money. Mao believes that these factors, combined with nation-state adoption, real inflation rates, and the M3 money supply, will significantly influence the Bitcoin price performance. So there you have it. My crypto fam, let me know if you agree or disagree with Tor Demeester, Samson Mao, and what are your thoughts on Bitcoin realistically hitting $1 million per coin by the time of the next halving, after this year's halving, all the way in 2028, potentially by 2029. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Now let's discuss the latest from ARK Invest Cathie Wood. She makes a bigger Bitcoin call with $2.3 million Bitcoin price prediction. So let's break this down, and shout out to Cathie Wood, the one and only, and shout out to all the broskies just tuning in. Be sure to pump the like to help pump the stream. I greatly appreciate that. This headline reads, Cathie Wood makes a bigger Bitcoin call with $2.3 million prediction. This headline reads, ARK Invest says Bitcoin can be worth $2.3 million if this happens. And here's the actual report, which I will include. It's already in the show notes below the video. In the description, it's very detailed though. It's 163 pages. This was published officially by ARK Invest. The date is January 31st, 2024. So this was 4 days ago, their annual research report. And as I scroll down, you're going to notice it's extremely detailed. There's lots of categories, hence why I'm just going to read you the highlights from the article. But some of the topics they touch upon: technological convergence, artificial intelligence, Bitcoin allocation, which is going to be a focus, Bitcoin in 2023, smart contracts, digital consumers, digital wallets, precision therapies, multi-omic tools and tech, electric vehicles, robotics, robot taxis, anonymous logistics, reusable rockets, very interesting, as well as 3D printing. So again, very detailed report just produced by ARK And you can find it in the show notes below the video, in the description. But like I said, I'm going to read you some of the highlights. ARK Invest CEO Cathie Wood, this beautiful woman right here, made an even bigger Bitcoin price prediction again after stating that the digital asset would get to 2.3 million as reported, quoting her here from Barron, running the numbers in a scenario where the 250 trillion global investable asset base is realigned along those lines. A long shot, to say the very least. ARK predicted that the hypothetical impact of such allocation would push Bitcoin prices to $2.3 million per coin. Send it. The prediction came from the annual Big Ideas report for 2024, which I just outlined for you. And this was released officially on the 31st, a few days ago. And it alleged that 19.4% of Bitcoin was the optimal allocation for one's investment portfolio in 2023. Notably, ARK Invest's optimal allocation has increased drastically over the years, moving it from 0.5% back in 2015 and to now, or also 6.2% in 2022 to now over 19%. I also like to stop there for one moment. BlackRock published a study, I think it was a couple of years ago, and their portfolio allocation for Bitcoin recommendation is 84.9%. So let that sink in. The world's largest asset manager in the world, BlackRock, suggests an Bitcoin portfolio allocation of roughly 85%. So that's like 4 times higher than Cathie Wood's 19.4%. So again, let that sink in. So Cathie Wood based her latest 2.3 million Bitcoin price prediction on the basis she sees firms keying into the 19.4% optimal allocation for Bitcoin. Now, if you were to ask JV, I'd say the optimal allocation for Bitcoin in a portfolio is 100%, right? Because you don't want to keep anything in US dollars because you're going to actually lose. The opposite of a savings account is what happens when you put US dollars in a savings account. You lose to inflation each and every year, and vice versa. Bitcoin is the ultimate savings account because Bitcoin is mathematically guaranteed to increase in purchasing power over the years, where the US dollar is mathematically guaranteed to decrease because they're guaranteed to continue printing money. You know what I mean? That's a given. So the alignment is such an order in a global market worth more than a 250 trillion market would push the Bitcoin price to 2.3 mil. The ARK Invest boss didn't give a timeline for the price realization, considering how improbable the factors leading to its achievements are. However, the guts to predict a 5,300% increment in the Bitcoin price action from the current market price of roughly 42,000 indicates how bullish Wood is on the crypto, 100%. So much love for Cathie. Bitcoin has made significant strides lately after drawing the interest of the 10 trillion asset manager, the largest in the world, BlackRock. Such interest, coupled with the court ruling mandating the SEC to hearken to Grayscale's request, had led to the approval of the first spot Bitcoin ETF in the US. In fact, in Gary Gensler's own words, he said, if it wasn't for that Grayscale ruling versus the SEC, they would have never even approved the spot Bitcoin ETF, so it forced their hand, family. However, the 19.4% portfolio allocation for Bitcoin may be too much to ask for investors at this point. I disagree. I think that's the least they can do, especially if they're smart. You know what I mean? I look at Cathie as smart, hence why she's recommending it. Not only that, but she personally revealed in a news interview, I think about a week or two ago, which I covered here on the pod, that she personally has over 25% of her portfolio invested into Bitcoin. So again, let it sink in. She's preaching what she's doing. Despite Bitcoin outperforming almost all traditional assets last year, 2023, many investors are still skeptical about the currency's volatility and ease of manipulation. Well, here's what I like to tell people. I heard Sailor say it. Volatility is a beautiful thing. Volatility equals life force. Bitcoin is going to be extremely volatile, especially at around the time of the halvings, as history shows us, because the force is strong with the B, if you know what I mean. So backlashes from personalities like Elizabeth Warren. Who cares about this woman? Elizabeth Warren. Good Lord. And the continual crackdown by the SEC, who also concerns investors. That's right. It's their job to spread FUD, not protect investors. That's ultimately a scam. They're not trying to protect investors. They're trying to protect their monopolies from their handlers and the powers that be. So who prefer to assets with more regulation to Bitcoin? However, the improvements around Bitcoin and widespread adoption of the asset, getting to a point where most global investors allocate roughly 20%, it cannot be ruled out. So there you have it, my crypto fam. And to read the entire 163-page report from ARK, make sure to check the show notes below the video in the description. And let me know your thoughts. Do you feel we're likely to hit $2.3 million per coin as ARK Invest Cathie Wood is outlining? Holla at your boy and let me know.